What's up, guys? Welcome to the podcast where everyone knows your name. Cheers to you. I'm Josh, and this is 30 and Nerdy. I want to remind everybody to please follow us on Twitter and Instagram. That's 30 and Nerdy Pod, at 30 and Nerdy Pod, I should say, and that's 30, not 30 spelled out. Also, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel at 30 and Nerdy Podcast on YouTube. I also want to remind you that Tyler and I will be at the Marble City Comic-Con on June 1st and the 2nd. We're going to be doing some live shows there, so definitely check that out. I am actually by myself here today. No Tyler, just me. I am going to do a short little discussion about Game of Thrones. There's been a lot of talk going on about Game of Thrones. Some people are not too happy with it. Other people are fully enjoying it. Full disclosure, I'm one of the people who is enjoying it, but I'm sort of a shill for the things that I like, so this is no exception. But we did get a couple of questions about it, and I'm going to talk briefly about it myself because, unfortunately, Tyler is not caught up with Game of Thrones. He's a good son, and he's waiting on his mom so they can watch it together, so I can't give him a hard time about it. But I've been really excited about it, and I wanted to share my thoughts with you guys and see what you are thinking about it. That being said, let me just caution you, if you are not caught up on Game of Thrones, there will be spoilers on this discussion. This episode is dark and full of spoilers, so please do not listen if you don't want anything ruined for you. So I have taken copious notes over last week's episode and a few predictions that I have, but to be honest with you, it's a mess. It's marked through and scribbled out, and there's arrows going all over the place. It's crazy. I can't make any sense of it at all. So I'll not read all that stuff to you, but I will tell you just some of the things I'm thinking. First off, so many people are unhappy with the show right now, especially last week's episode. A lot of people are complaining about how maybe certain things are being rushed or whatever, things don't make sense, but I disagree. I think it's great. I am a shill for the things that I love, just like this, and sometimes I feel like sometimes people say things are bad or they hate on things because it seems like it's the cool thing to do, but I've heard some, opinions of a few people, and I've got their thoughts on, what's wrong with it? Why do you dislike it so much? And I sort of understand what they're saying, but, if you go back and you look at the series as a whole, I have been rewatching the show since right around the time that the new season started to premiere, and it had been a while since I'd seen a lot of the earlier stuff. But knowing what I know now, there are so many clues all throughout the show, specifically that hint around to the thing with Dany, with Daenerys going kind of crazy, the Mad Queen, if you will. A few things in particular, Maester Aemon said that a Targaryen alone in the world is a terrible thing. If you think about the situation that Dany's been in, and over the course of the past few episodes, she's alone. I mean, she really has no one. Everyone that she has trusted and loved is either dead or they've betrayed her, or both. So she's feeling pretty alone, I would say. There's another episode several seasons back where Dany's hanging out with Daario, and he tells her that she needs to get all these people together in the fighting pits, and she should just slaughter all of them to send a message. And she says, "Well, I'm a queen, not a butcher." And he says something like, all kings and queens become butchers or they become the meat. So I think that was a clue. There's been so many things, and we know that Dany is ruthless. If you cross her, you're going to pay for it. And I think that she got to where she is. She by trying to do the right thing, what's best for, the common people and everything. And I get why people are bothered that now she would slaughter all these innocent people. But it's like she said, man, she said, I have no love here, only fear. It's been said, you'll remember, that when you play the Game of Thrones, you either win or you die. And right now, Dany is trying to win. I mean, she's won, I would say, so far. So I wasn't super shocked by what she did. But that's just me. I have a list here of all sorts of other things, but all of this stuff is stuff that all the things that she's done, the ruthless things, like, executing the Tarleys, and she locked the dude in season 2. She locked him in his vault. I mean, she's not somebody to mess with. And I think that she gets to King's Landing and she realizes, I'm never going to be able to rule the way that I had hoped and that I had envisioned that I would. No one loves me here. No one has any trust or faith in me whatsoever. I can't trust anyone. I have no one. I might as well rule in fear, because there's no way that she can go back to what she came from. She's worked so hard to get to where she is. It can't all be for nothing. So those are my thoughts on Dany. There's a lot more, I'm sure, but I'm trying to keep this pretty brief. Another thing, people weren't so happy with the thing with Cersei. Cersei's death. They thought she deserved a more gruesome ending. I can understand that, sure, to an extent. But I also think that Cersei was sort of, in a lot of ways, a sympathetic character. I mean, all the things that she went through, I say that, but anybody in this world, in the world of Game of Thrones, it's no picnic being any of them. But Cersei, when it comes down to it, she's a mother. Everything she did was for her children. She's Mama Lion. And even in her final moments, something that she kept repeating, I don't want my baby to die. I want our baby to live. I want our baby to live. She's thinking of that baby in those final moments. She's a mom. And she's fierce and she's ruthless, just like Dany. And I get that we wanted to see a more fitting end after all the terrible things that she's done. However, we should also think about the fact that she and Jaime are tied together. They've been tied together from the very beginning. They came into the world together. They should go out together. Because, yeah, it's kind of messed up and nasty and all that stuff, but they do belong together. And I think that, he had to be involved. Jaime, that is. He had to be there. He had to be a part of it somehow. There was a theory I had heard a few people talk about that maybe Jaime will kill Cersei because he's realized just how evil she is. Maybe. And he knows how awful she is because he said to Brienne in the previous episode, she's hateful, but so am I. I don't think that Jaime would have ever killed Cersei. He just loves her too much for that. Maybe it could have been something that could have happened would have been that somebody went to stab Cersei with a sword or a spear or something, and he jumps in front to try to save her, but it, goes through both of them and kills them both, and they die at the same time that way. I don't know. But I think that the reason that they sort of had that sad ending was because Cersei's not the true villain here. She's not the one that you really needed to be looking out for. It's Daenerys. And I also think that Cersei has been so strong throughout this show. Anytime all these terrible things happen to her, she doesn't let it show in front of, just anybody. If you think back to when the High Sparrow made her walk naked through the streets and the people were spitting on her and, mocking her and everything, she held it together until she got behind closed doors. In those final moments when she knew it was all over and we saw that look of fear in her eyes, there's never been another time where she's been that way, where we've seen her like that. And I think that that's a little bit of justice in and of itself right there. But that's just me. All right, so predictions. I have no idea. I really don't. The finale is here. We finally get to see how everything ends, and I just don't know what to expect at this point. Maybe, what if nobody sits on the Iron Throne? I don't know how people would feel about that. But maybe democracy is introduced to the Seven Kingdoms. I doubt it, but you never know. Maybe the Iron Throne was destroyed in Daenerys' attack on the city, so there's no throne to claim. Could be. I don't know. Maybe we get completely blindsided. Maybe they swerve us and Sir Davos the Onion Knight sits on the throne. I doubt that too. I'm just saying, I don't know. It could be anything. I've heard the theories about Sansa. At first, I kind of, didn't put much thought into it. I didn't see that happening, but once I really stopped and considered it, I think there's a chance that could happen. I don't think it's going to be Jon, because Jon has said, no, I don't want it, and I don't see him going back on that. Sansa has gone through so much over the course of the show, just like any of them, but her especially. We have been meant to root for her. We cheer for her, and I don't think that's by accident. What is the reason for making her such a sympathetic character, someone who we root for? We want to see her succeed and come out on top of everything. All of her struggles and hardships, it can't be for nothing, right? I think she must be meant for something far, far greater. So maybe we'll see. Who knows? Other predictions. I wrote down, I hope Tyrion lives. That's not a prediction, but I do hope that he lives. I hope he makes it. Looks like Daenerys has made Arya's list. Yeah, I think that's probably clear to most people. There's a line several seasons ago where the Red Woman said to Arya, you will close blue, brown, and green eyes forever. So the brown eyes, I believe, would have been Walder Frey. The blue, the Night King. Green, could it be Daenerys? I think so. We know Cersei's been on the list for a long time. That was really the last person on the list, and when it came down to it, the Hound was able to convince Arya to give up her quest for revenge and vengeance, and he said, you don't want to end up like me. Let it go. She's going to die anyway. And Arya says, thank you. Seems like she realizes that he's right. She's willing to let this go and move on. And then she sees all the chaos and the destruction that Daenerys has caused. Innocent people slaughtered. So I think she's got one more person on her list, and I think that's going to be Daenerys. So I think that's it. I'm really excited about the finale. I know everyone else is too, even if you've not been enjoying the season so far. I know everyone's anxious to see where it goes and what happens. I'm sure that we will follow up on it at some point, probably next week sometime, or at least I will. Like I said earlier, Tyler's still trying to catch up, so I'm very anxious for that. We can probably have a Game of Thrones full episode when the time comes. But until then, I hope that you enjoy the finale. I know a lot of people won't. No matter what happens, they're going to hate it. But I am optimistic, and I am looking forward to it. So until then, we will catch you later, nerds. Bye-bye.